There are certain things in life that I just find absurd. So, case in point, this last weekend there were protests, anti-illegal immigration protests, for the most part, in London, central London. And that's not what I'm going to be talking about per se. And actually, I was in London over the weekend, and I was protesting, but somewhere else for a completely different thing, for football, really. So, got nothing to do with this. And this video is not about the politicization of any viewpoint, or I'm not commenting on what their protests were about in terms of illegal immigration and the rights and wrongs of that. I'm not talking about that. But what I did find absurd, and I've seen it the last couple of days, the reports on that protest, they had a live link with Elon Musk of Tesla, of course, from the United States. And it's almost like a rallying cry. And, he's basically, you got to fight or die type of thing. This is what he was saying. You got to fight or you're going to die. And I just thought it was completely absurd. So first of all, I've talked about this in a previous video where people in the UK believe that UK should be taken over by Trump, right? As if we're going to be like the 51st state, which is absolutely absurd, right? So now you're getting another person from another country. First of all, another country. Let's just stop there. Another country trying to come to a UK situation, something that's happening in the UK and all around Europe in actual fact. But let's just talk about the UK, of illegal immigration and whether it just stops there, because I don't believe it just stops there in terms of protest, what people want. I think there's a lot of people, there's a lot of agitators in there who want to take this further in terms of overall immigration and everything like this. And, where does it stop? It'll be on to the next thing. They've already said, the organisers of these things, they've already said that they want to, deport everybody who's come here in the last 10 years. They want to question everybody who's settled here in the last 30 years. It's that kind of thing. But again, put that aside. You're taking somebody from another country and you're going to take their word for it and you're going to use them as a rallying cry for what's going on in the UK. I just think that's absurd. Especially when you're protesting about immigration, and then you're going to take, somebody's totally disconnected from this country. The only thing he's got connected with this country is that he sells Teslas in this country. That's it. Nothing more than that. Now let's just look at Elon Musk as an individual. I don't have a viewpoint on him, right? In whatever you think, but he's an immigrant himself. He's not an American by birth. He was born in South Africa. His mother is Canadian, so he actually emigrated. He left South Africa and he went to live in Canada. And then from Canada, he went through the back door and got into the United States to become an American citizen. So he's a citizen of 3 countries, or he's got a passport of 3 countries: South Africa, Canada, and the United States. Now, interesting, if you look at the absurdity here, you would draw parallels. The United States have got massive problems with their immigration, of course, from Mexico, illegal immigrants. But also, what a lot of people don't talk about is illegal immigrants coming in from Canada. So you think, is he an illegal immigrant that came into United States from Canada? Well, obviously not. But you just kind of asking these absurd questions, or you just look at the absurdity of different situations. And you think, well, what is it that, protests in the UK, what's that got to do with Elon Musk? Now, Elon Musk, he has got some polarizing views and he's got some forthright opinions. And again, I'm not going to comment on what those opinions are, right? But I just do find it absurd that we in the UK, or people from the UK who are protesting on certain things, would have any credence in what he has to say on issues over here, when it's a totally different country, it's a totally different society, it's a totally different set of rules. So that's it, that's an interesting thing. And I would be very interested to hear from people in the United States, especially because obviously Elon Musk was very much part of the Donald Trump campaign to get re-elected. And he was working very close with Donald Trump. And then they've obviously had the falling out, and he's pulled himself away. So I just wonder what the MAGA movement, Make America Great Again, the United States, what they think of Elon Musk. Is he still some great spokesman for right ways thinking, right-sided thinking? Or has he let himself down in their eyes? I don't know. I think certainly in terms of politics, in terms of Donald Trump, I think Donald Trump has seen Elon Musk as a real liability. And some of the things that he's come out with, and whether it was deliberate, whether it was unintentional, whatever, the optics of him giving that, moving his arm, and it appeared to be a Nazi salute at a rally or something, what he was giving a speech, or I don't know if it was a TED talk or something like that. It wasn't a good look, right? So you can make fun of it. There's memes about it and all that kind of stuff. But essentially, there was lots of stuff. He was upsetting the apple cart in what he was doing in that Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency or whatever it was. And, in many ways, you could look at that and you say, well, actually, what he was doing for the United States in terms of, looking at all this overspending and all this stuff that doesn't need funding. Yeah. And we could all look at that for all different governments around the world, right? You could look at where money is being spent and why is it being spent there. In this country, why is it being spent to do this and not help the average person, that kind of thing. But I just do find it absurd. And let me know if you think, you agree, that you think you got somebody from another country who's not even naturally born in that country. Should that make a difference? I'm not sure. But he's moved countries twice. He's a passport holder of 3 different countries. He's got nothing to do with his country, only in terms of business. And then you're putting him up on a screen, a live link, to give you some kind of, let's fight or die. And it's just like, what? Haven't we got people in this country that you could find? I'm sure there's Farage who would have got on there with you. I'm sure I see Kate Hopkins was a part of it. I'm sure there are other celebrities out there you could have got. I'm sure there are other people that, on the fringes that you could have got. I'm not sure why Elon Musk has anything to do with it. Let us know your thoughts. So when I say, if I just look at the whole inclusion of Elon Musk in this whole thing, and how it's all broken down for him in the United States in terms of, I don't know if it's broken down in terms of MAGA over there or right-leaning people. I just know it's broken down, obviously, with Trump. He kind of drew back from everything because Tesla was having a real problem. There was a massive backlash against Tesla, especially because it was out of favor in terms of the policies that Trump wanted to bring out as well. So he's had to do a lot of backpedaling in terms of trying to rescue his company. And I don't know what the latest is there, but it still is absurd to me that people from this country value his opinion. I always hark back to this. And if you're a student of diatribe, which I seems to be. I remember when the Brexit referendum was happening, and I was always a big fan of Obama, right? Or in terms of looking from afar, I didn't look closely at his policies. I just thought the way he spoke in general, I think it was a breath of fresh air in terms of global politics, American politics. But I instantly dropped the favour for him when we were having this referendum. He came over to the UK and he was basically gave a warning to the UK. He said, if you do this Brexit thing, if you do this, then UK would go to the back of the queue. And he was warning us to say, don't leave Europe. You've got to stay in Europe. And at the time, I was like, hold on a minute. Who are you from another country? I don't care what your position is. I don't care if you're a president of the United States. I couldn't give a monkey's. Who are you to even comment on what goes on in our country? What goes on in this country? We are not, under your control. We should not be under your influence. And it just proved to me time and time again that, that US presidents or political figures from other countries try and influence things in other countries, and certainly try and influence what goes on here. And there was a lot of anti-American resentment at the time for that, and there was a lot of thinking, well, why are we listening to you? What's it got to do with you? And I think there's a parallels and absurdity here. Why would anybody want to listen to Elon Musk? What he's got to say? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But protests going on. People have obviously polarizing views. It's a hot topic at the moment, right? But I just think, within all this, which and the protests at the weekend, I believe, were largely peaceful, right? I think they were. I think there are a few arrests, minor skirmishes and stuff like that, with anti-protesters there. There was Unite protesters there as well. But I think overall it was peaceful as far as I'm aware. I don't know much about it, but I wasn't there, so I can't comment, right? But I just think the absurdity of Elon Musk being held as some kind of figurehead in this country, for us in the UK, not so sure. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you know what to do here, keep on watching and catch you again. Bye now.